James Harden is one of the greatest offensive creators this game has ever seen. Ever since he was traded to the Houston Rockets, we all knew that a star was born, and he changed that trajectory of that franchise. The moment he got to Houston and finally had his own team, you could tell, okay, this guy's different. The Rockets made multiple playoff runs, deep playoff runs, even conference finals appearances. As long as Harden was there, Houston knew they had a shot. He was the engine. He was the system. And for years, with Harden at the center of everything, that team was in good hands, at least in the regular season. And that's not just eye-to-eye tests or look good on highlights. The numbers put him right next to some of the greatest guards to ever play. Over his career, Harden has averaged around mid-20s in points per game, around 7 assists, 5 to 6 rebounds a night, on elite efficiency. For that kind of volume, he has an MVP, multiple scoring titles, assist titles, All-NBA first teams, All-Star appearances. The resume speaks for itself. It's loaded. There was a stretch where he was averaging around 35 points, 7 to 8 assists, close to 8 rebounds a night on really strong true shooting over multiple seasons. That's video game production. That's I am the offense type stuff. Climbed into the all-time leaderboards in points, assists, threes, free throws, and all of it screams the same thing. In the regular season, James Harden isn't just good, he's all-time good, and he's very comfortably in that one of the greatest offensive guards to ever play conversation. He's not some Twitter-made star on paper, he belongs in the same sentence as a lot of legends. But that's exactly what makes the rest of his career so frustrating. Because as great as all of that is, when you look in Zoom in May and June, when you look at the biggest playoff moments, the story starts to change. Let's stay in Houston for a second because this is where the pattern really starts. Early on, once Harden became the guy, the Rockets built their whole offense around him. Spread the floor, high pick and roll, threes, layups, free throws, let Harden cook. And it worked. They were one of the best offensive teams the league had seen in years, and Harden was right in the middle of an MVP race almost every single season. And then they bring in Chris Paul. On paper is perfect. Two elite guards, both can create, both run offenses, both can score. And honestly, at first, it was terrifying. The 2017-18 Houston Rockets team with Harden and CP3 was probably the closest anybody ever got to knocking out peak Kevin Durant and the Warriors. They won 65 games. They go up 3-2 on Golden State, and if Chris Paul's hamstring doesn't explode, and if they don't miss 27 straight threes, there's a very real chance we look back at Harden as a guy who did take out the Warriors dynasty. So it's not like he's never had a good team enough. But after that peak, that's where things started to crack. Even though they were still winning games, the chemistry between Harden and Chris Paul started to get ugly behind the scenes. CP3 is a guy who demands a lot from himself, from his teammates, from coaches. He wants guys to move without the ball, to run sets, to cut hard, to defend every possession. Harden is a generational talent, but his style is more deliberate, more ISO heavy, slower, paced, standing off ball a lot when he doesn't have it. Over time, those philosophies started clashing. You could literally see moments where CP3 was barking at Harden to move without the ball, to run something different, and Harden just wasn't with it. Reports kept coming out about arguments, about them not speaking, about trust breaking down. So now you have this, one of the best backcourts in the league, still a contender on paper, but internally, the stars are not on the same page. And when that happens in the NBA, somebody has to go. And the Rockets front office is looking at an aging Chris Paul on a massive contract, a younger James Harden who's the face of the franchise, and they make their decision. They ship Chris Paul for a ton of picks for Russell Westbrook. So on one level, yes, they didn't want to be locked into CP3's money as he got older, but on the other level, let's keep it real. That move does not happen if James Harden really wants Chris Paul to stay. Harden wanted a different co-star, and he got one. They got to Russ, the ultra small ball, the double down on Harden style even more, no traditional center, 5-out spacing, all offense, all threes, and what happens? They run into the Lakers in the bubble, the small ball experiment gets exposed, Westbrook's fit really isn't that good next to Harden. D'Antoni is out, Daryl Morey is out, the team starts heading straight to a rebuild. Meanwhile, Chris Paul goes to Oklahoma City, takes a team most people thought of would be a lottery squad and drags them to the playoffs. Then he goes to Phoenix, helps turn the Suns from a young, fun team into a finals team. The guy, Harden, couldn't make it work with the guy everybody was calling washed and overpaid, goes somewhere else, and leads a team further than Harden has ever gone. Chris Paul has a finals appearance. James Harden still doesn't. And that's the important detail when we talk about who was the problem in Houston. It wasn't all Harden, but you can't say CP3 was the issue and then watch him take another team to a finals. Back in Houston, after the small ball year and the front office coaching changes, Harden clearly sees the writing on the wall. The team is older and thinner. The contention window is closing. The roster isn't good enough anymore. He shows up to camp out of shape, clearly checked out, and he publicly makes it clear he wants out. And once again, instead of trying to grind out through a tougher situation, he chooses the exit door. That's how we get to Brooklyn. Brooklyn was the super team that never was on paper. Harden's time with the Brooklyn Nets was supposed to be legendary. Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, James Harden. Offensively, when all three were on the floor together, they were ridiculous. There were stretches where it felt like they could score every single trip. It looked unfair, but did they win? No. Why not? Kyrie's availability and off-court decisions, KD's injuries, Harden hamstring issues, bad timing, bad luck, bad vibes. From Harden's point of view, you can understand the frustration. In Houston, I ran into the Warriors. In Brooklyn, I'm hurt. My teammates are out. And the whole thing collapses before we even get a real shot. But again, instead of grinding through the years of that, we get another exit. He wants a new situation, a new chance, a new shot at a ring. So now, after just that, he's off to Philly. On paper, once again, this looks perfect. Joel Embiid playing at an MVP level. James Harden transitioning more into a playmaker, but still dangerous as a scorer. A two-man game that should absolutely be good enough to get to the conference finals at a minimum. And then you have a young rising talent and Tyrese Maxey on the team as well. In the regular season, they have stretches where it works. Embiid wins MVP. Harden leads the league in assists. There are games where he looks like he's the perfect co-star, 20 and 10, controlling the tempo, taking over when Embiid sits. But when they get to the playoffs, same story. Some huge games like those big scoring explosions against Boston, but then games where he quietly disappears. Games where his turnovers pile up. Games where it feels like he's shrinking from the moment instead of rising with it. You can blame coaching. You can blame Embiid having bad nights too. You can blame role players and shot making, but Harden's inconsistency in the biggest games is part of why Philly never got over the hump. Then the relationship with Daryl Morey blows up. Harden feels like he was promised money and respect that he didn't get. Philly is hesitant to tie up their whole future in an aging star with a complicated playoff history. Then Harden demands a trade, publicly calls Daryl Morey a liar, and once again, it ends in drama. Another team, another situation, blown up, another trade request, and then he's off to the Clippers. He lands with the Clippers, and to be fair, Harden helped the Clippers. There were stretches where he was probably one of their most consistent players. Kawhi in and out of the lineup, Paul George in and out, Russ off the bench, lineups constantly changing. Harden is a steady one, running the offense, getting guys involved, keeping them organized, hitting big shots when needed. Even this year, they started off horribly, one of the worst records in the league early on, and having people scared for their lives that the Thunder were going to get a top pick in the NBA draft. People were clowning them. Then they start to click, going a strong walk, and Harden is a major part of it. He's still putting up very good production for his age. So no, he didn't ruin the Clippers. He actually made them better. But did they win at the highest level? No. Injuries hit again. Kawhi breaks down at the worst time. They don't go as far as people hoped again. Then we're right back at the same space. Questions about money, questions about years of the contract, questions about the future. And we're here now. The Jersey, another team, another chapter in the same kind of story. You zoom out over the last 6 to 8 years, pattern is tough to ignore. Houston falls short, tension with a star, teammate, he wants out. Brooklyn falls apart, he wants out. Philly blows a series, beef with the front office, he wants out. Clipper situation, unstable, contract, not what he wants, gone again, and I get it. While he was with the Clippers, he deserved a pretty solid payday because he did help that team out a lot, especially when Kawhi was out. James Harden was a productive elite player, and he was home, and he even talked about wanting to be with the Clippers for as long as possible. But did that happen again? No. You can kind of frame it as he just wants to win. He's tired of wasting his prime. He's ring chasing, and I think that's partially true. He definitely wants that ring, but if we're going to be fair, if it's not just about the situation around him, we have to talk about the regular season Harden versus playoff Harden. In the regular season, mid-20s, 7 to 8 assists a night, 5 to 6 rebounds, rate efficiency, huge usage, one of the best offensive engines we've ever seen. In the playoffs, the scoring dips, the efficiency drops, the turnovers go up, the worst performances often come in the biggest games. He has had some great playoff performances, no doubt, but he's also had some straight up awful elimination games and closeout performances that shaped how people see him. So when people say James Harden doesn't show up in big moments, it's not coming out of nowhere. There's evidence here. And when you combine that with multiple trade demands, public shots at GMs, friction between him and teammates and coaches, constantly jumping from team to team when things aren't ideal, at some point you have to sit back and ask, is Harden part of the problem? The only problem, not the main problem every time, but part of why all these situations never fully hit. I'll add another layer to this. He's 36 years old. He's still good. He's still better than half of the starting guards, and he can absolutely still impact winning. But he doesn't have unlimited time. You don't have 5 more full runs left at 36. Your window is shrinking, whether you admit it or not. And in this era where we call it player empowerment, stars forcing trades, stars picking markets, stars reshaping rosters around themselves, most of the time, when a prime star moves, it's because he's forced the issue. That's why rare moves like a franchise trading away a top-tier guy in his mid-20s without a public trade demand shook people. Luka. It reminded everyone that teams still can pull a trigger and decide your future when they want to. Harden is in a different place now. He's not that 25-year-old franchise cornerstone anymore. He's still a good enough, be a productive player, still good enough that contenders talk themselves into him. Teams think, if we add Harden, we have a shot. And he keeps landing in win-now situations instead of aging out on random rebuilding teams. Most 36-year-olds don't even get that kind of privilege. So he's in a weird middle zone. Not the untouchable megastar anymore. Not just a role player either. Still getting more leverage and chances than almost any vet at his stage of their career gets. And that sets the stage for the latest move. Him joining the Cleveland Cavaliers. Paper, I actually like this fit a lot for Harden and on the Cavs. You got Donovan Mitchell, clearly the number 1 scorer. He's going to carry a lot of that pure scoring burden, especially in the fourth quarter. That alone takes the pressure off Harden. He doesn't have to be a 35-a-night Houston Rockets Harden anymore. Instead, he can fully lean into the version of himself we've seen in the second half of his career. Playmaker first, score when needed, big guard controlling pace and running the offense. Then you look at the front court, Evan Mobley, Jarrett Allen. Harden has always elevated bigs, Clint Capella in Houston, even Zubac with the Clippers, who people were even saying that he was an all-star caliber big because Harden was feeding him so many easy looks. Mobley in the short roll, Allen as a lob threat and rim runner. That fits perfectly with what Harden does. Also a bigger guard than Garland. At 6'5", he adds size to that backcourt. He can see over defenses and handle more physical matchups in the playoffs. So from a pure basketball standpoint, yeah, Harden, Mitchell, Mobley, Allen makes a lot of sense. But let's be real here. This is a wild trade when you pull the camera back. A team swapped a 26-year-old all-star level guard for a 36-year-old guard. That's not normal. For Cleveland, this is a gamble. Darius is still younger. He has a longer runway, but he's often hurt. He hasn't always been available when it matters. The fit with Mitchell wasn't necessarily perfect. So the Cavs are basically saying, we can't stop hoping for the perfect version of Garland. We're in win now mode with Donovan Mitchell, and this move tells you everything about what they're trying to do. They want to keep Mitchell, so they believe that they're serious about winning now. Moving off from a young guard to bring in Harden is a way of saying, we're going all in to give you the best chance to compete today. And this fixes their offense under playoff pressure. When defenses load up on Mitchell, they need another true creator. Harden gives them a second organizer, not just a spot-up guard. Also really helps reset some of their financial issues. They were tied up against the new apron rules. This move also is about having more flexibility going forward while still trying to compete. Short term, this is probably makes sense for a more dangerous offense. Long term, you've now tied a big part of your future to a 36-year-old with a long, complicated history in big moments. And this is where everything comes back to Harden himself. You can like the fit. You can like how you'll help Mobley, Mitchell, and Allen. You can see how they'll make life easier for him. All of that can be true. There's another truth sitting beside it. This might be the last time Harden has a level of control over his situation. At 36 on the 16, after all the exits from Houston, Brooklyn, Philly, and LA, if it doesn't work here, it ends with the same pattern. Some great regular season stretches, some ugly playoff games, and an early exit, and more frustration, and the league is not going to be bending over backwards to give Harden everything he wants. He still wants to get jobs, he still wants to help teams, he still wants to put up numbers, but that cycle of I want a city, this coach, this role, this contract, and if I don't like it, I'm out, that's not going to keep working when you're heading towards 40 years old. At one point, it stops being, these situations were just good enough for me. It becomes, maybe I'm part of the reason why these situations never became what they could have been. Sometimes you have to look in the mirror and say, it's not just bad luck. I'm gonna actually be part of the problem. Like how that guy said in that clip. Yeah. Here's where I land on James Harden. He's already a Hall of Famer. He's already one of the greatest offensive guards we've ever seen. He already has the individual hardware, the numbers, the highlights, the respect from other players. If he never wins a ring, that doesn't erase any of that. But if he never wins a ring and this same pattern he keeps repeating, the jumps from team to team, the tensions with teammates and front offices, the ups and downs, elimination games, then that's going to be a huge part of his legacy too. Two things can be true at once. Yes, he is ring chasing, and honestly, he should be at this point. No, his career is not a failure if he never gets that ring. But it would be sad if he never finds peace with exactly how great he already was. It always feels like he's running from situation to situation instead of finally planting his seat somewhere and owning everything that comes with it. Most importantly, he's going to be a Houston Rockets legend. He's going to have his jersey retired there one day as one of the greatest players to ever play there. And in general, he is going to be known as one of the greatest offensive weapons we've had in recent NBA history. In his prime, he was different. This is really now his last chance as that guy with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Harden's taken less money when he was on the Clippers. He's sacrificed. He's done all the right things to help him be in a situation. But this really is his last final time. I just hope this time around it just doesn't end with the same chapter and same movie we've seen and watch for almost an entire decade. I want to hear from you. Do you think James Harden can actually make this Cavalier situation work? And if he never wins a ring, do you see his career as a failure or as a great but imperfect legacy? Let me know down below what you think in the comment section. And if you made it this far, I just want to say thank you. This is a very long video. But another thing, if you've seen already, check out my last video on the Charlotte Hornets. In that one, I break down how they've quietly built one of the most exciting young cores in the league and the massive trade deadline moves that they just made. Those videos will be on the screen right here at the end, so click that next. And if you've enjoyed these long, honest breakdowns, not just quick hot takes. Leave a like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one, because whatever you think about James Harden, this run in Cleveland might be the last real chapter where he can change your mind.